All right, there's more proof that the Lions might have some real problems, but when you dig deeper, you realize they're actually all good. And this is coming out of the NFL Combine. Coaches, GMs starting to talk a little bit. And one coach in particular said some pretty crazy stuff, and let's talk about it. And it has to do with the Lions, even though they weren't specifically mentioned, fully talking about the Lions. Here it is. Ben Johnson was asked why he's so excited, blah, blah, blah. Ben Johnson, our former offensive coordinator, said the out of structure, the off schedule, the creation, that's what stands out most to me about Caleb Williams. As much as you want to make it pure progression, 1, 2, 3, there's just too much variety, pass rush. So to have an athlete like Caleb extend the play, potentially find explosive downfield, that's what gets me going a little bit. I get excited about that because I haven't really been around that since I've been in the league. I've been on the other side, and I've experienced it, talking about quarterbacks running around making plays, and it's demoralizing when you're on the other side and you're watching that happen. So direct shot at Jared Goff, whether he meant to or not, it just is the way it is what it is, right? And the concerning part right there was that you've got, this is the Manta sleep mask. Join Craig and I in sleeping better in 2025. Manta Sleep helps you fall asleep and stay asleep with the products that they have. Their sleeping masks are unlike anything else. They've got a sound mask, a pro mask, silk mask, and they've got weighted, cooling, everything you need to help fall asleep and stay asleep. They also have a noise machine that's perfect, and they've got some sleep add-ons like a pillowcase, some pillow spray, a sleep journal, things to help you get the sleep that you deserve. Also, they have kids sleeping masks. This is great because kids often don't sleep very well or can have trouble in seasons. Help them fall asleep and stay asleep as well. So make sure, hit the link and use our code for 10% off. Hit the link in the description, 10% off. The high-level offensive coordinator that is saying, I am really excited to work with the off-schedule stuff and be able to have a quarterback that can move. Jared Goff can't move. It's one of the big criticisms about him. Now, and we'll get to the combine here in just a second on some other players that popped out, but this is interesting because Jared Goff is someone that we're just like, he can do it. He can do it. You either love Jared Goff or you're just that have a bad taste in your mouth from that playoff loss. Well, it's not hard once you really dive into this to say, I understand the mobility thing, but that is just one piece of so many things of quarterback play that we are lucky to have Jared Goff, because if you look at it, NFL.com came out with rankings of they took everyone's 2024 and put it all together. And Jared Goff, who was in the MVP race basically the whole season, finishes 4th. Ahead of him's Joe Burrow, incredible run, Lamar Jackson, and Josh Allen. So Joe Burrow, who can move a little bit more than Jared Goff, is still kind of a pocket quarterback. But my point is, as you start to look at this and look at these quarterbacks, there are only 5 quarterbacks that you could even make the argument you would want above Jared Goff in the National Football League. And then it really goes south from there. I mean, Jalen Hurts, maybe, right? You can get the offense around him, but no. Jordan Love, no. Justin Herbert, I don't think I would take over Jared Goff, honestly. Geno Smith, Sam Darnold. You start to see how quickly, because the argument is we don't want Jared Goff. Okay, then who would you get? Right? You can't. What are you just gonna roll out there, Hendon Hooker? Because clearly they don't believe in Hendon Hooker. They signed a high school coach to play in playoff games and be a backup to Jared Goff, and we actually got to see that. So Hendon Hooker they don't trust. So it's like, all right, who else is out there? And you saw in the thumbnail Gardner Minshew. He's available. He can move a little bit. And it's like, see, we got to be so careful with that. So do the Lions have a major problem on their hands with a quarterback in Jared Goff that cannot move? And the answer is no, because when you look at his 2024, he had the best NFL season to date. his final numbers mirrored some of his totals he posted during even his Rams tenure. But then remember, 2021, things get a little dicey. And this is cool here. You can kind of see how 2021 was not a good year. Lions were bad. But then since then, his Lions numbers are just insane. And it's like, oh my gosh. The Lions finished with a number 2 total offense. In fact, that made Detroit's divisional loss to Washington so shocking. For seemingly the first time all season, the Lions were not sharp offensively with Goff. The one and done exit stunned the football world and soured Goff's season slightly, but from a big picture perspective, it's still incredibly difficult to downplay what he did in 2024. So I think two things can be true at the same time. The non-mobility thing is not good, and it would be so much better to have it. And also, you could say that Goff is an exceptional quarterback, and that shockingly, he's so good that the mobility thing doesn't matter as much. So let me know your thoughts in the comments. When you hear a really good coach say how excited he is for the mobility piece, knowing that he just had a guy that did not have the mobility, I think it really fires up the team as well. Just they're always looking for stuff, right? And I love that. So we'll see what happens there. Now, from the combine itself, one of the things that I think is really exciting is there's a really good linebacker group coming out. You got Walker out of Georgia, 6'2", 245. And this excites us because if you look at our linebackers, we've got a couple situations going on. You got Jack Campbell, Alex Anzalone. Malcolm Rodriguez is returning from an ACL. Jalen Reeves-Maben, it's like, oh, man. I've never really thought you were great, but, you know, he's kind of like that special teams captain guy. But really, so that means you got two linebackers. Then it's Malcolm Rodriguez. What do we got there? Derek Barnes is an unrestricted free agent who, honestly, I just think we let walk, and he's just going to get overpaid by somebody that sees the raw athletic ability, and they want to say, like, we can fix him. We've had him in the system for so long, and it's just he's good, but we'll let him go. We're just going to let him go. Trevor Nowaski, no. Pittman, right? You see these other guys that are just solid, but that's just what it is. So if you look at this, you got Walker out of Georgia, Campbell out of Alabama. There's another. Oh, yeah, Demetrius Knight out of South Carolina. It would really be nice to get a linebacker that we thought Derek Barnes was. Fast, athletic, just partner with those other two linebackers would be really nice. So there's more to come on that, but linebacker is really a good spot for us. We shared this the other day, and PFF put out its top 101 players. The Detroit Lions had more in the top 101 than the rest of the NFC North combined. So we're still ultra talented. Craig and I went through this list, and it's just like, we got a lot of talented players. We're going to be just fine. And I think this coaching staff shakeup is one step back for two steps forward. It's kind of a pruning process. Like, when you prune something, you take it back, doesn't look good, but man, it really shoots out from there. And I think that's what's going to happen with the coaching staff changes. So let me know your thoughts in the comments. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't, and we'll see all of you on the next one.